Who has owned the largest diamonds in history? That question, conjures up images of unimaginable wealth, of glittering crowns, chests just overflowing with jewels, kings, queens, emperors, sultans. They have fought for them. They have killed for them. These stones are not merely ornaments, symbols of immense power, of divine right, of conquest. But among all these legendary gems, one really stands apart. It's not the largest, nor is it the most flawless. Yet its story is arguably the most dramatic and blood-soaked. This is the story of the Koh-i-Noor, the Mountain of Light. The Koh-i-Noor enters the historical record not just as a stone, but as a legend, a myth. It's a diamond with a dramatic past, a jewel that seems to carry a curse within its mesmerizing facets. Hindu texts from centuries ago speak of a magnificent diamond, the Syamantaka. This mythical stone was said to bring great fortune to a virtuous owner, but it brought death and ruin to any man who wore it. Only a woman, or God. Many believe this ancient legend is the true origin story of the Koh-i-Noor. The diamond's journey through the annals of history certainly seems to confirm this dark prophecy, leaving a trail of fallen empires and murdered rulers in its wake. The diamond eventually found its way into the hands of a new dynasty, the Mughals. These emperors were descendants of Genghis Khan and of Tamerlane. They established one of the richest empires the world has ever known. The first Mughal emperor, Babur, received the stone as a tribute in 1526. He called it Babur's diamond. He was honestly unimpressed, valuing it at only half the price of a day's food for his entire army. Yet he kept it, passed down through generations of Mughal rulers. It witnessed the zenith of their power, the wisdom of Akbar, and the architectural genius of Shah Jahan. Under Shah Jahan, the diamond found its most glorious setting, placed at the apex of the magnificent peacock throne, covered in gold, encrusted with emeralds, rubies, pearls, and of course, diamonds. At its very heart, catching the light and dazzling all who knelt before it, was the Koh-i-Noor. For the Mughals, the diamond embodied legitimacy and a divine mandate to rule, a symbol of unshakable power. Yet empires fall. Weakened by strife and war, their wealth lured ambitious invaders. In 1739, the Persian emperor Nader Shah swept into Delhi, his invasion swift and brutal, ending in a horrific massacre. He seized the Mughal treasury, including the fabled peacock throne, but the great diamond was missing. Muhammad Shah hid it in his turban, betrayed by a disgruntled court insider. Nader Shah's triumph was short-lived. The diamond's curse, it seemed, followed him back to Persia. His reign grew increasingly tyrannical, his paranoia spiraling out of control. 8 years after looting Delhi, he was assassinated in his tent. The Koh-i-Noor was stolen from his body. It fell to Ahmad Shah Durrani, who fled and founded the Durrani Empire in what is now Afghanistan. Again, the stone became the centerpiece of a new dynasty, power seized from chaos. But decades of internal conflict and betrayal followed. The descendants of Ahmad Shah fought bitterly. Shah Shuja Durrani was blinded and overthrown, but escaped, smuggling the Koh-i-Noor. He fled to the powerful Sikh Empire in Punjab, ruled by Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the Lion of Punjab, who had long coveted the stone. He offered refuge in Lahore, but at a price. Shah Shuja was effectively a prisoner, his family's supplies cut off. Pressure mounted until, in 1813, the defeated Afghan ruler handed over the diamond. Ranjit Singh was ecstatic. He had reclaimed a symbol of Indian sovereignty and pride. He didn't hide it. He wore it on his arm during state occasions, sending a message to rivals. He was supreme. To Ranjit Singh, it was power and love, the crowning jewel of the mighty Sikh Empire. The Lion of Punjab died in 1839. Chaos followed. A bloody succession crisis. Sons and courtiers plotting, murdering for the throne. The prophecy seemed to play out again. Within a decade, the kingdom disintegrated. The British East India Company advanced, and the fractured Sikh Empire was the last major obstacle. After 2 brutal wars, the British prevailed and annexed Punjab in 1849. Duleep Singh, a boy king, was forced under the Treaty of Lahore to surrender the Koh-i-Noor. This was not a gift. It was a confiscation, absolute submission, the ultimate trophy of a new empire. Secreted out of Lahore, nearly lost, and carried through a cholera outbreak aboard the HMS Medea. When it arrived in 1850, the public was underwhelmed. The Indian cut didn't sparkle. Prince Albert ordered it recut, reducing it by over 40%, from 186 to 105.6 carats. A brutal reshaping, erasing its Indian history, and remaking it as a Western jewel. Victoria wore it as a brooch. Later it sat in crowns for Queen Alexandra, Queen Mary, and the Queen Mother. The Koh-i-Noor is far more than just a famous diamond. It is a nexus of controversy. Its fame stems not only from its size or its beauty, but from the brutal, dramatic, and deeply political history attached to it. For many in the subcontinent, it is a painful reminder of colonial subjugation. Taken from a boy king as a condition of a treaty signed under duress, seen by many as plunder, not a legitimate transfer. Thus, a museum piece becomes a symbol of historical injustice, an unhealed wound. Who should own the Koh-i-Noor today? The arguments are complex and impassioned. India has repeatedly requested its return, calling it stolen and integral to national heritage. Pakistan also lays claim. Lahore, from which it was taken, is now its cultural capital. Afghanistan points to the Durrani dynasty's ownership. Britain argues it was legally acquired and warns that returns could empty museums worldwide, calling it shared, if complicated, history. Critics see refusal to confront empire's darker chapters. The debate spans repatriation and the spoils of war. As of 2025, it remains in the Tower of London, a silent protagonist in an ongoing drama. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history's most infamous diamond, please like,